Good evening. Welcome to the Municipality of South Dundas Council meeting for Wednesday, May 13th, 2026. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. I have a motion. Let it resolved that the May 13th, 2026 council meeting of the Municipality of South Dundas now be opened. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Councillor Vino sends his regrets. He will not be here this evening. No closed session tonight. Under 2, confirmation. Is there any additions, deletions, or amendments to the agenda? I would like to suggest that we defer item 8E, the proposed zoning bylaw, due to the fact that all the council isn't here, to ensure that the requirements that were set out in the council meeting 2 meetings ago met the conditions of all the 3 councillors that voted against the original motion, as the Councillor Ward, Councillor Vino, Deputy Mayor had stipulations to that zoning requirement. So I'm suggesting we defer that.
Yeah, no, all three, both of them went green, and then it went red. It shows green, and then it's
So you should be good.
okay.
Apologize for the technical difficulties here.
Life's life.
Deputy Mayor.
If I may, through you, Mayor Broad, could I just then get an understanding of, just before I
Sure.
what exactly would we be approving tonight? 'Cause my understanding is we are approving the rezoning, but all of the conditions that we discussed is not really part of the rezoning anyways. It's part of the site plan and the building permit process. So is it okay if I could just get a clarification on that first?
Yes, through the mayor. So the conditions and that we've laid out explicitly in the bylaw would be part of our standard site plan process regardless. I think from the perspective from the last meeting was to make sure they're included and it wouldn't be, staff have the authority to approve the site plan, so it wouldn't be waived. The council could still see the final version before signing off on it. So, but all those items, stormwater, wastewater, noise, and entrances, things like that, would be part of the site plan process regardless.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm okay. I am personally okay waiting until Councillor Vina comes back, just to have all of council be part of the discussion.
Okay. Very good. So we will defer item 8E. Apologize to the members of the gallery that have attended tonight on that topic. Apologize to Director Young, who traveled here tonight for that. You do have another one on the agenda, so thank you for that. Okay, so with that deletion, any other additions, amendments? Okay, seeing none, I have a motion. Let it be resolved that the Council of Municipality of South Dundas approve the amended agenda. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Okay, disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, adoption of minutes. Any errors or omissions to the April 29th regular council meeting? Seeing none, I have a motion, let it resolve that the minutes of the following meeting be adopted as presented. April 29th, 2026, regular meeting. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Okay, moving into delegations. I'd like to welcome Ann LeDuc, the Executive Director, and Jackie Levac, the Programming Director for the Glengarry Interagency Group. Welcome. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, councillors. I'm really excited to be here tonight to speak to you about the Glengarry Interagency Group. I think we're long overdue for a visit. So on to the next slide. Thank you. I'll speak quickly, I'll give you a little introduction, then we'll go to the Learning Center because that's our main focus for tonight, alongside the Iroquois Daycare Project. We'll have a closing and a question period. So basically, the Glengarry Interagency Group as a whole is more than just employment services. So we're recognized in that sector, but we also operate several other programs. They are the Early On Family Services, the Integrated Employment Services, as I mentioned, the Seniors Program, the Learning Center, the Youth and Transition Worker. So we serve a population from 0 all the way to 99. And we do see a lot of presence of our agency across the board in Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry, as well as in Cornwall. We are a registered not-for-profit. We have a very active board of directors. They're involved in HR, finance, not-for-profit activities. So we have a great governance sitting on that board. We also manage a budget of close to $3.9 million. So I just checked, it's 3.9, so closer to the 4. We're always happy when it increases. And we are celebrating 50 years in business this year, which is quite an accomplishment. When we talk to our different programs, our seniors program is a day away program, so that's a respite program that's offered in North and South Glengarry. It operates 4 days a week. With the TLC Center is a program that's a before and after care, child care program, and we'll speak a little bit longer to that. The Youth and Transition Worker Program is a program that accompanies individuals that are aging out of care systems, so between 16 to 24, and we grow them to become productive and very confident adults in our society. We presently have 25 clients on a file, so it's a full accompaniment over that period of time. So we do establish great relationships with those individuals, and those individuals will often pop into our other services like our employment services. They might use our early on services. The Early On Services is a service offered to families that have children between 0 and 6, and there's a wonderful accompaniment that includes working with the Eastern Ontario Health Unit when it comes to hearing clinics. There are nursing programs also that are offered through that program, and we do also do car seat clinics, and we will often support families that come in and that have hit hard times. So we will find resources for them. We'll supply diapers. We have been known to source furniture for them. So it's a really great program. On to the next slide. You'll see here, this is a snapshot of all of the ministries that we work with, the City of Cornwall, as well as the municipal and community partners. We work with 4 different ministries, so we are quite used to writing grants, responding back through reporting, quarterly, yearly, at their convenience. And we also have several municipal partners that we work with, as well as community partners, including Children's Aid Society. So they're one of our wonderful partners. And with that, we'll go right to the Learning Center. We are very proud of this program. It's a fully licensed Ministry of Education approved program. And we are licensed across Stormont, Dundas, and Glengarry. And our focus is really high quality, inclusive, and reliable care. And we support families and promote strong, growing communities across the counties. So on the next slide, you'll see our different locations. We operate out of Cornwall, Ingleside, Iroquois, Lagan, Longsu, and Winchester. I'd like to speak specifically to the Iroquois Daycare Project now. We see that Iroquois is experiencing wonderful growth, and we see the continued residential development, increased local employment opportunities, and demands for services from your local families. What we propose is a new Iroquois daycare, and we would seek licensing for 49 spaces. We're looking at 10 infant, that's between 12 and 18 months, 15 toddlers, so that's 18 months to 30 months, and then 24 preschool children, so that's 30 months up to 6 years of age. It would be full-time childcare, and it's a critical piece when we talk about workforce development in a community. Parents can't fully participate in the workforce if they don't have proper childcare. We propose to use local workforce attraction and retention. Employers seeking stability in their workforce would benefit from this. We are hoping that it would entice young families to continue to live and to choose to stay in the community. By locating the daycare facility in the former Iroquois Medical Clinic, it also represents a great opportunity to reuse existing infrastructure. I'll let Jackie introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Levac. I'm the program manager of the Learning Center. Like Anne said, we have 6 locations. I've been with GIG for 8+ years. And previously I've worked in childcare where I have daycare experience with younger children. Right now it's just school age. So although this project focuses on year-round full-day childcare, and my current role involves overseeing school-age children, we offer before and after plus full-day for school-age children. I have experience with a licensed full-day childcare with infants, where I was able to support opening of a new infant program in my past experience. So I believe my role as management in my school age position will help with the Iroquois project.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't note that we have over 200 children registered in our programs presently, and we have a staff of 60 during the winter, which can climb over that easily when we run the summer camps in the summer. And this all falls under Jackie's purview. So for me, my last position prior to joining the agency was working in municipal government. I was with the Township of North Glengarry for 8 years. And during my time there, I had a lot of wonderful opportunities, which include capital projects. I was very fortunate to be able to work on the refurbishment of the Glengarry Sports Palace, which happened in COVID and actually came in on budget, which was quite the achievement. We also had a wonderful replacement of an HVAC system in one of our arenas, and that was through Trillium funding. That was 100% funded through that. And I participated in the expansion of a skate park. We went from a little over 3,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet. So now I know everything I didn't know about cement. So these were really great projects to work on. And as part of the Glengarry Interagency Group, just recently we completed the refurbishment of our seniors space. So we actually were in another locale, and we moved our seniors into a building that we owned in the industrial park in Alexandria. And just this week we moved into our new office spaces for our employment center. So we own a building where the OPP is located in Alexandria, and half of that building happened to be vacant, and we thought it would be a great home for our services, and we just happened to complete this project and move in this week. It's fresh paint. It's really nice. So why do business with the Learning Center? Well, we definitely understand ministry requirements. We know what the funding models look like for daycare, and we understand our partners' accountability expectations. TLC manages licensed programming, staffing, compliance, quality standards on a daily basis, and we have a proven operational and financial track record. Staff has experience in scaling up or scaling down services responsibly while maintaining really high-quality programming. We are involved here in Iroquois. We operate a before and after school program in the Iroquois Public School. We also have a long-standing relationship with school boards, municipalities, community partners, and we can show that we are effective in our partnerships and managing these multiple stakeholders. The outcomes that we're looking for this project, we propose prioritizing childcare services for local families, ensuring that our center directly supports the residents of South Dundas. Whenever possible, we'll hire local early childhood educators, so encourage our youth to go into that field, or members of the local workforce, strengthening our local economy. We would also commit to supporting the placements for early childhood educators. And the Learning Center will continue to offer care, ensuring that our connectivity is followed through between our daycare programming to before and after school age, and also accompanied by all of our other programming. We see this as a community hub, not just a daycare. So in summary, we hope that what we propose responds to a clear and growing need in the community for full-time childcare. Our focus is on long-term sustainability. We do have the governance structure in place, as we've shown, and taken together, we think that these commitments will ensure that the Iroquois Daycare Project supports local families, workforce participation, and community growth. So we welcome your questions at this time.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Jackie, for your presentation. Yeah, I'll use my favorite word. Super excited for you to be here and share this opportunity. And I know Director Jansen has a report to follow. You captured a lot of my comments in the slides. Supporting local workforce, local families, creating jobs, boosting local economy. From an economical standpoint. Really hard to find jobs, build houses, have daycare, stores to shop in all at the same time. Like, you have to do one first, and think of new employment opportunities in Iroquois to the Cardinal. Developers now wanting to build. Now daycare spots, further employment, it just starts the ball rolling, and we're really appreciative that this opportunity came before us in a building that we own and we're going to have, but more importantly, I think it's for the families, right? The children, and I know Tom talked about that this week about how important children are, and I know Councillor Ward continues to be advocating for this, so it is really important to this council and this team, so thank you very much. But I'll pass it over to my cohorts here. Councillor Ward.
I, of course, have something to say about this because I have been waiting for this patiently, and thank you so much for presenting. And I'm really, I'm quite positive that there's a lot of parents that are either watching this or will find out about it in some capacity that are breathing a sigh of relief. I hear this consistently, even during the election and while I was on council, that there isn't enough spaces. What do? I can't go back to work. Or if I have to work from home, my employer doesn't let me just take time to watch my child throughout the day. So it really is helping not only, from my perspective, young families, but also women get back into the workforce, which is something that I think our government is really trying to do, is getting women back in the workforce and then contributing to the economy and growing the economy that way as well. So I can't say I'm happy enough, and I just really wanted to say thank you for putting this together, and also thank you to Director Jansen for listening to me every month about this project. So I really appreciate that, and I'm really looking forward to working with you in the future.
Councillor Smith.
Yeah, through you, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation. I did have a few questions. Maybe it's too early to tell, but just kind of getting into like the nuts and bolts of how it's all going to work. You mentioned like priority for local children. Is there like a formula that has to be followed about that certain percentage has to come from our area before we start looking elsewhere, or how is that going to work?
So I wouldn't have those details right now, but I can tell you from my experience, we usually prioritize local communities first.
Okay. And I've already had one person asking me that probably we don't even know this yet, but do we have any idea like hours of operation of what we're going to be for our before and after after school care, or are snacks provided? I got asked that already.
These are important questions.
Yeah, they are.
Absolutely. So it's a full nuts and bolt daycare, so it does include snacks, it includes lunch, so on and so forth. And so hours of operation, in general, daycare will operate on a 12-hour, but depending on the type of funding that we seek from the City of Cornwall, I can tell you that one of the things that would bring our project forward, and we're hoping you're going to canvass this for us, is that we do an extended hours. So if we do either a 6 o'clock in the morning to a 7 o'clock at night, it's called extended hours.
Okay.
And those hours are really hard to find, as most parents around the table here know. So that offers a lot more flexibility. And there's also a possibility of working with our local businesses to find out exactly what their needs are. Some of them might have shift work requirements. So a model like this can expand in the future.
Okay, and yeah, because you mentioned like the hours. I believe there's a larger employer in Iroquois. Like the main shift is 6 till 2.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
so like that's one thing to consider. Do we, like, as far as cost yet? Do we have any idea how much would be like per child, like for the parents? Do we know that how that's going to look yet?
Absolutely. So those are regulated costs, especially if we are subsidized through the City of Cornwall and the Ministry of Education through the City of Cornwall. I don't have the prices offhand, but I would be happy to send this to the clerk, and she could share it with council.
Okay.
And I'm a little hesitant on giving prices because we know that the government is trying to lower childcare prices, so there are subsidies that accompany that.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Awesome. Great questions. Yeah, Councillor Ward.
So through you, Mayor, I'm just curious, do you need advocacy at the City of Cornwall from our council to support this project, to move it forward? Is that what you are seeking?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, it never hurts when there's a positive voice around the table about a project. But that said, we have a very close relationship with the City of Cornwall and with the the Director of Human Services over there. And we know that we are in a child daycare desert. And those are the words that are being used. And I don't know if council is aware of this, but there are only 2,000, actually a little less than 2,000 fully licensed daycare spots, including the before and after school spots in all of SDG. So those are not a lot of spots. So if you have a child that's there is no daycare for 2 out of 3 children right now in SDG. No daycare spots.
Councillor Ward.
Through you, Mayor. So I guess it's a good thing we know someone over there.
We
so
do. We do know a few
maybe
people.
we can do that for you.
And we work well with the City of Cornwall, and I know we continue to collaborate and talk with the CAO on more collaborations between the two. And of course, Mayor Townsdale, councillors that I see at the Glenstore Lodge meeting and other meetings, including we're in Cornwall Tuesday, so I know where I'll be calling. Yes, we will advocate certainly on your behalf for us and for you, so thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other questions, comments? No. Well, thank you. Thanks, Ann. Thanks, Jackie, for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and
Yeah,
council.
thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay, next up is one of our youth recognition nights. So tonight, we want to recognize the youth working group. So members of that youth working group are Jordan Thompson, Banraj Chima, Maitab Chima, Harneet Chima, Sage Burgess, and Isha Ali. And I know a few of you guys are here tonight. Do you want to come on forward? Maybe we'll... So I know Councillor Ward and obviously our programming director Scott Hagee and David Jansen work a lot with the youth working group. I was at your event last Thursday, and maybe you could talk a little bit about that. We can start with that about the group, and maybe you can share a little bit about your Youth Wellness Day last week. And I have the pen from the Youth Wellness Hub, Ontario. So this is the official Youth Wellness pen that I'm using. And if people know me on the table, I'll use a multicolored pen because I'm color coding on my notes. So thank you for the pen. But please share with us all the things you've been doing, and certainly last Wednesday's event.
Okay, is this working?
Yeah,
This is working. Okay,
it's very good,
perfect.
yeah.
So we had a wellness day, the second one that we've done annually now at Seaway District High School. We had about 260, maybe here or there a little bit, students that we reached. But essentially, we get to partner with the school there, the teachers, the principal, and we bring in a lot of local vendors, health and wellness related. This year, we had the Morseburg Chiropractic there. We had the fire department. That was a huge hit with all the students. And so the students come in, teachers bring them down, and they get to cycle throughout, talk to all the vendors, learn about what's in the community. It was nice to have representatives from, for example, the youth hub there, so they could know what else is coming to our community. And then on the other side of the gym, we had fun activities that made them want to stay. So we had the fire department there, like I mentioned, and they had a lot of really interesting equipment there. We had a Taekwondo instructor to talk about healthy living, fitness. A lot of the students also took initiative to make healthy smoothies that were being passed out. So it was a really fun event, but it was mainly just to get kids talking about what is health, what is wellness, and what resources are there in this community to support you. And I think the more that we can bring those to the students, let them know here's everything for you, the more they're likely to actually use them. And so one thing we did differently this year that hopefully we get to share with you at some point is we did surveys with all the students, and a lot of them filled it out because you get prizes, right? And so in these surveys, we asked them, what did you like about the event? What did you not like? What do you want to see more of in our community? And so at this point, we're in the process of reading through those surveys and figuring out exactly what our next steps can be as a team. So that's what we're looking at right now. But otherwise, in terms of upcoming initiatives, as the school year is wrapping up, we're really looking at focusing on two main initiatives that we've had. The second one now is youth health kits. And perhaps, Mithab, maybe you can speak to this a little bit. You were involved in this last year.
Right, as my sister here was saying, Harney, we were talking about distributing health kits of hygiene and stuff like that, and as well organization, ways of teaching younger students who have less accessibility to this kind of equipment or stuff, which they can be using on their own, of course, with proper teaching. And that's just one of our main goals after a post-event.
Awesome.
Yeah. So just to elaborate on that a little bit, something that one of our other members had done, gone into Morseburg Public School. Hopefully we get to do it at Seaway as well. You bring in these health kits that have hygiene products that some students unfortunately don't have access to at home when schools end, which is why we do it near the end of June so they can take those kits home. And you walk them through what is deodorant, what is shampoo, what is conditioner. And just talk about, how often should you brush your teeth? How long do you brush your teeth for? Some things that for some students might be basic and simple, but for others, they could use those little demonstrations and we make fun games out of it. So that's our last event coming up for the year, but otherwise, recruitment. We're looking at getting more youth every single year, and that's the last initiative that we're working on now. Hopefully, we're able to get into the local schools a little bit more and get more kids coming on out and telling us what they need.
Awesome. Yeah. That's great. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor Broad, and certainly you, obviously your group inspires a lot of other youth, so, I like to say youth helping youth, right? One of the questions I would have, though, is with you going into the schools and helping with the kids, what kind of reception are you getting? Because I know that, I'm sure that if it was adults helping kids are probably more shy, not as receptive, kind of hide behind the stigma of, oh, I don't want to be pointed out. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about the reception and how you believe youth helping youth is probably is a benefit to this type of programming?
Well, personally, from our own experiences and from what we've read from the surveys as of late, students have been very receptive to our changes and what we've given out as information. Of course, the way we like to do it is a general presentation, or we did games or something that's not subjective to one person having to answer, raise their hand and point themselves out, or out themselves, of course. It's more of a generalization where everyone can partake and learn something, even if, of course, some students may know this. Again, some may not, and of which we will have processes for that, and that's how we went about doing that.
Yeah. And just to add to that, really, it's just We let them know, hey, just drop into the meetings, check it out. If you want to stay, cool. If you don't, that's okay too. I think showing them that there's no pressure here. Just come in, tell us what you like or what you don't like, and then if you want to go right after, totally fine. I think that level of frankness and just casualness, they really appreciate that, and it makes them feel a little more comfortable. And of course, because a lot of the members are younger and they're from, for example, Seaway or other schools, they're friends of the other individuals that are joining. So again, it makes it more comfortable. Like he was saying, there's no, necessarily raising hands or writing things down. It's more informal, and that makes them more eager to come in and share things with us.
Thank you.
Councillor Ward?
So thank you for that presentation. You are so well spoken. Like, I'm so proud of all of you. You guys do excellent work, and I really think that you meet youth where they are. Like, and that's why I love this program. I love this committee. You guys are doing so much good work that you might not see today, you might not see tomorrow, but I can tell you right now that the child that probably has never brushed their teeth before, or the girl who doesn't have access to sanitary products, is greatly benefiting from everything you are doing. And then that is something that is priceless to me. And I would throw all the money towards your group if I could. So I just wanted to say thank you for advocating for people who can't advocate for themselves. We all know that, there's children out there that don't necessarily have a voice, and you're giving them that voice, and you're letting them, you're teaching them sometimes, and to the parents that are trying their best, like, you're also giving them another avenue to help them out and kind of reinforce those behaviors of good hygiene and good health and what that looks like. And I really think too that, the school board it really appreciates, and I have heard that feedback from teachers, that of all the work you guys are doing. So that's feedback I've received. I just want to pass on to you guys. So thank you so much for all the work you do, and I can't wait to see what you guys keep doing.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, I also took a few minutes to pop into the event that was held at Seaway last week, and there was a lot of people there. Well, of course, like the entire student body was there, so I did look a little bit out of place as I walked in, I have to admit. On a side note, I did get to embarrass my two older children who attend Seaway. I don't think they knew I was coming.
Your
But
5-year-old locker too?
yeah. Picture on the wall. And anyways, but no, so it was a great event. Spent some time with our fire department as well. Got to meet Scott. I think that was the first time we've been here for about a year now, but of course, it's the first time I got to meet him. And so Scott and I had a good chat for about 10 minutes or so over volunteer opportunities for children.
Good.
So,
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so it was
Very
good.
Awesome. So just before we wrap up, so Hardeep, you're a great leader. Looking forward to everything that you'll achieve, and thank you to your brothers and Hardeep and Jordan and Alicia and everybody on the crew for everything you do. So let's get a picture. The three of you and the four of us, I guess. We'll get a picture. Nice being able to focus on youth in our community tonight and children, so that's wonderful. Moving on to action request. 7A, GIAG Deer Care Partnership, 5 Policy Director of Parks, Recreation and Facilities, David Jansen.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So a couple of tough acts to follow tonight for me, so I'll see what we can do here. In front of Council tonight is an action report with regards to the delegation that you just heard from GIAG. As Council will remember, we had some discussion with regards to the facility at 5 College Street about a month or two ago. Just looking at sort of optimizing the space there and looking at some potential growth services for the municipality. It's not a secret anymore. We are looking at bringing in a daycare there. I know during that presentation we did talk a little bit about medical clinics, so I did have some discussions with the medical partners and stuff like that, and they were, it didn't fit with their long-term vision. So seeing this opportunity, they were happy to, step aside and let this come forward, just as an update there for council. I won't get too much into the daycare side of it. Obviously, we're hoping for around 50-ish spots there, as Ann and the team presented earlier. Getting a little bit more into the partnership itself. So we're looking at kind of two phases here. So obviously not going to flip a light switch on and automatically going to have a daycare there. So the first phase that we're looking at is going into a design partnership here. So part of the report tonight is looking at getting some of the funding that we put aside in reserve, using that as the municipal portion for some of the design, the funding. Also looking at, obviously, there's some changes that will happen in the facility that will affect the municipality. So making sure that we build those into the design as a good partner as well. So over the next, couple months, year, we'll work on getting that design finished up. The group at GIAG and Ann talked about it. She's going to take the lead on the project. So I'm going to sort of be the background, making sure that, there's some municipal perspectives there, but it continue to be a good partnership there. So sharing those costs. From there, we will go into more of a construction phase. Obviously, anything outside of the daycare space will be the responsibility of the municipality. So some of that archival changes and stuff like that. But we're trying to really put this into one project. So the building it just came out of construction. I don't want it to go back into construction, then back into construction again. So trying to focus on, let's close the loop here and just go to construction once. So that's sort of the goal there. Like, I foresee this being, we're probably not breaking ground until perfect world, 6 months from now. Less perfect world that we live in, we're probably more in the 6 to 12 months. So talking 2027, starting to do some tenant fit up and find the right fit to fit the space. I have a little bit in the report on licensing. So Ann already talked about it. I'll be honest, she's the wealth of knowledge here. She spits out all the facts that I don't have and all the statistics. I'd have to go research them. She's got them at the top of her head. But we have met with the city of Cornwall already, started discussing some of those licensed daycares versus unlicensed daycares. So we'll continue to advocate, and anything council can do to support us. Obviously, we'll make sure that that's put in front of you guys to help us out as well. They're expecting to get some of their daycare information and allocations from the province in the next couple months here. We're going to design the facility to plan for that, and then the allocation can come afterwards. But either way, the commitment's there to make the daycare come to fruition. And then from there, staff's going to work and draft a formal lease. We're looking at a fairly long term here. They want a commitment from us. We want a commitment from them. It helps them with their grants. It's a significant capital investment, likely hundreds of thousands of dollars to renovate the space into a daycare. They'll be looking for grants and opportunities like that. So they're going to need that 10, 15, 20-year commitment from the municipality in a lease. So that's some of the terms of the lease that we'll be looking to draft up there, and then just defining the areas. And the other thing will be some of the rental side of it. So obviously, like I said, they're looking at investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into this space, adding a service to the municipality. There's a lot of net benefit there. They do understand that buildings have costs as well. So we're looking at trying to find the right wording in our lease that works for both parties, that their initial capital investment is appreciated and that they're getting some, either rent-free or subsidized periods, but also recognizing that long-term, that is an asset that the municipality does have to pay for. So it's not going to be a free space. We're looking at trying to find the right rate. So we're going to work with them and draft a lease, and that'll come back to council at a later date. Hopefully in the next, month or two, you'll see that formal lease come together. At the same time as that's going on, we will be working on the design portion of it separate. So those are the two streams that we're sort of looking for approval tonight from council. I won't get too much further into the daycare information. I might even nudge Ann, who I know is still sitting at the back of the room, if anybody has any technical questions. So,
Thanks, Director. Questions, comments? Yeah, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, so through you, Mayor, so just for Director Jansen, so I just want to get it straight. So we're approving, so the 50,000 for 50/50 cost sharing design. So do we know yet, so maybe we don't know yet, but so GIAG will be paying for the bulk of the renovations, is that correct, on their specific area? But if the construction goes outside of that specific area, then that's going to be on us, is that correct?
Yeah, so through the mayor to Councillor Smith, the 50,000 is an upset. So let's say design actually only costs 65,000. It'll still be a 50/50 split there, so it could be less than that. And the plan as of right now is that there's grants available for daycares and stuff like that, and they have their own business plan that they build around. So they will be responsible for their own, it's a tenant fit up, so the creation of the space. And like you alluded to, anything outside of their tenanted space would be our responsibility.
So we really don't know exactly how much that's going to be on our end until the project basically gets started, correct? Yeah.
But through the mayor, as we work our way through that design process, we'll have a pretty good idea as we get to it. Like I could throw square footage, high level numbers at you, but I think once we nail down that design, that first phase, we'll have that cost estimate of what it's going to cost as we go into construction.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, thanks, Director. At 49 spaces, there's only 2,000 in SDNG. We're adding 4%. We're adding 4% of spots right in Iroquois. This is incredible. So excited to get this started. So I do have a motion so we can get this rolling. Let it be resolved that the Council of Municipality of South Dundas supports, in principle, partnering with the Glengarry Interagency Group on the design for a new licensed daycare space at 5 College Street, Iroquois, Ontario. And that the council authorizes the use of the $50,000 from the Recreation Programming Reserve Fund to fund the municipal portion of the design work on a 50-50 cost-sharing basis with GIAG. And that council directs staff to prepare a formal lease agreement between the municipality of South Dundas and GIAG. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Okay, 7B, FS 2020-619, approved debenture for Iroquois Plaza. Treasurer Stewart.
Through you, Mayor Broad. At the March 4th meeting, Council approved a bylaw to submit an application to Infrastructure Ontario for long-term borrowing. At that meeting, Council also wanted staff to come back with comparisons between the internal and external financing options. So I have a slide to compare the two. So option A being external financing through Infrastructure Ontario shows what the total payments would be on a 15-year term, and then the interest and monthly payments versus the option B being reserve fund borrowing. The differences showing there on the right between the two would be a savings of $139,000. So quite a significant savings. The difference between the two is Infrastructure Ontario, approximately 4.33% is the interest rate currently. It's yet to be confirmed. They don't confirm it until we send the required documents. As far as the reserve fund borrowing, it would be at 2.8%. That's what we are making through our bank account currently. So it just gives you an idea of what it could look like. Now, if we look at the state of our reserve and reserve fund, we estimate our current year end to be for the reserve fund account 3.2 million and the reserve 6.4. Now, with that, we did exclude certain reserves. So the obligatory ones, of course, that RSL equity and the fleet being the bigger ones with the reserve funds. In the reserve, we did exclude landfill because we're not sure when that would be needed, and if we're going to enter into a 15-year term, it should be excluded. Of course, the debenture reserve, campground, and Morrisburg waterfront, we removed all those. So it brings your net available reserve to 5.3 million. So considering that, the unknowns right now are the 2025 surplus deficit, because we don't have our financial statements back for 2025. The arena project, we're not sure, because it's at the early stages, we're not sure what we will require, if anything, hopefully nothing, from our reserves. And then, of course, the Morrisburg Plaza, which is due to start soon in 2026. What we do know currently is the Iroquois Plaza needs $1,027,000 of financing. And I guess just one thing to add, the reserve and reserve fund policy states that our reserves should be between 25 and 50% of the annual operating expenditures. So those numbers would mean that what we would require in reserves is 3.8 million to 7.6 million if we go with the 25 to 50%. So we're getting very close to that, the lower end of that range, just to be cautious and understand. So from there, I guess staff is looking for direction, whether we'll finance internally or externally. If it's externally, I will get the paperwork from Infrastructure Ontario, and we'll continue the process, because we did find out last week that the application has been approved. So that is a possibility, of course. Otherwise, we'll be looking to bring to council next week an action report to approve the internal financing.
Thank you, Treasurer. Councillor Ward?
Thanks, Mayor. So through you to the director. So looking at this in front of us is the 93,000 per year that we would have to spend on the plaza just for Iroquois, correct? That's principal and interest. That's not a front-ending loan, like it's a amortized loan? Like is it a serial loan or is it an amortized loan?
I did request the amortized loan.
Okay, so that would be consistent through the 15 years. It's not front-end. Okay.
Yes.
And then our reserve. So these are my thoughts. We already talked about this. It's 4.4% of our budget already goes to the plazas, and this is another, how was this 1% basically for next year? So 5.4%. I would rather not see it come from reserves if we're already close to not meeting our reserve fund target. So I guess that kind of leaves us with borrowing money. One question I did have is there a loan that has come due or is coming due next year that we'll no longer be paying? I remember having that discussion. I believe Councillor Smith asked that during budget period. So I know we were looking at maybe playing with some debt capacity room there, but.
Well, through you, Mayor, there is certainly debt capacity. There is plenty of room, but I will see if there is anything that is ending in 2027.
Deputy Treasurer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Councillor Ward. I believe in 2028, the paper for the industrial road job is fully paid up.
Councillor?
Can I ask how much money that is? Sorry. Every year?
We have been paying about 800,000 a year, if I recall, general terms of total debt reduction. This would be adding 93 less what's coming off 2028. Maybe while Deputy Treasurer Mesa's looking that up. Obviously, we when the Morrisburg Plaza gets done, we're going to need to borrow that money. Obviously, we'd never borrow both from reserves, so we kind of have two chances to look at the same scenario. I guess would be a comment. Deputy Treasurer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The debt on the industrial park the final payment will be November 15th, 2028, and it's semi-annual payments of $54,529.
So 100. So it's, 100. Deputy,
And then when's their Dundas Manor contribution?
Three more.
3 more years.
Okay.
Councillor Smith?
I know it, sorry, through you, Mayor. I said on there that the financing for the Morrisburg Plaza would likely be on the next term of council. Is there any way that we could get that done or pre-approved before we go into lame duck so that we don't have to leave this for the next council? If we're deciding to spend this money, we decided to spend this money, it should be our council that agrees how it's going to be paid for. I would hate to leave that for the next council.
So through you, Mayor Broad, I would have to look into it. I would think if we were to start financing maybe a construction loan, and that perhaps would roll into a regular amortized loan over a certain term. Maybe that's one way we could do it. Otherwise, with the work just starting, we wouldn't know what we'd have to borrow. I don't know if that they would want to enter into any contract with the work not done, but perhaps they would enter into a construction loan to be able to roll it over at the end. But I'm not 100% sure.
Councilor Ward?
Through you, Mayor. So the only thing with the construction loan is we would start paying interest right away. So if we borrowed from our own reserve to pay for Morrisburg initially and then got a loan later on, like you're saving that construction loan interest. I know it's not very high, it's like 2% or something like that, but it's lower than the 4 point whatever it is. But anyways, it would be saving. If we locked it in now, we'd actually be costing them more money. It'd be adding more money to the tax base already. So it's just my thoughts there, but I think we're gonna have to loan. I don't know, that's my perspective. So I'm gonna go with option, I think that's A, right? I think so.
Through you, Mayor, yes, it would be option A to go through Infrastructure Ontario.
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, thank you. On the 4.33%, if we were to do a combination of a 50-50, 50% reserves, 50% a loan, would we still recognize that rate, or would they recognize that rate of 4.33 on, or is that just because it's at the upper limit?
Through you, Mayor Broad, I believe it would be the same rate because the rate that they post doesn't have a min-max to it. So it should be the same. It'll be thereabout. It's not locked in yet, but the posted rate currently is showing 4.33.
Yeah, I just, the difference is $139,000, right? It's 10%. It's a 10% difference, right? I mean, if it was only, I would say 5 or less, I would have been convinced just to go with the loan, but at 10%, I mean, listen, if something happens and we need more money, we could borrow the money at that time to top up, you know, if there was anything that we needed in terms of assets, right?
Yes, through you, Mayor.
To me, 139,000 is 10%. That's quite a bit of money.
Yeah, our debt capacity is bigger if we
Correct.
this one,
Correct.
our debt capacity at a future project.
Correct. And in 2 years or 3 years, when the other debt starts coming off, if we have to do if that council of the day needs to do adjustment at that time, then to your point, you can do that adjustment then. So I'm actually leaning towards saving the $139,000 and just funding it through our reserves.
So through you, Mayor Broad, yes, we can do it like that. And I guess it leaves less room, fewer options for the new council for the future projects, because we are using a lot of it for this. But yes, very possible.
Councilor Ward?
Sorry, I don't understand that. I don't understand what you're saying there.
Your intention is to use the reserves for the full million? So then that's taking away from the reserves, and we don't have a lot of time to grow the reserves from there. So I guess the future council won't have that option to use the reserves versus debt.
Borrowing.
It will likely be mostly
Yeah,
debt.
understood, but again, if there's any major projects that gets recognized and we don't have enough in the reserve funds, you can just go and borrow at that time,
Yes, correct.
right? So maybe you're not gonna then recognize that you're saving 139,000 because it's for the whole term, but, you know, I don't know, I just feel that at 10% is a lot of savings there, you know?
Councilor Smith?
So through you, Mayor, so I would think, or the way I was thinking is like, between one of these two projects, I would like to see a significant chunk of money come out of reserves to fund some of it. I just don't know if the proper thing would be to take that reserve money to fund the Iroquois one, or we should save it till later to fund a portion of the Morrisburg one. That's basically what Treasurer Stewart was like, because it's going to be.
Yes,
see what I'm saying,
100%.
right?
We can't do both. So the obvious is one, but I think the Deputy Mayor's point, we should try and start saving the money right away. if we're gonna save 10%, let's start saving it right away versus trying to save it later, right? And then, we do have capacity for, we're limited to how much debt we can take on, right? So whatever that limit is, you know, we'll be $1 million less if we borrow it internally versus not. So we still have that debt capacity. I guess the other thing is, you know, we're going to talk later, you know, can we make 10% somewhere, you know, with that reserve fund? Probably not, probably not. So saving 10% does, you know, make sense. Math is math in this case. Whether it's, you know, we use the reserves because it's opportunity for other projects that we couldn't borrow money on, or if we need to borrow money on. Councillor Smith?
So if we could not get the Morseburg project finalized before we go into lame duck, then if we pay, say we pay cash for this one,
Yeah.
then we're forcing the next council to borrow the entire thing. I would rather leave the next council, since it was our project, the option of them putting cash down on it, and then we'll finance this entire one. That's
your
my
opinion.
opinion.
Yeah,
That's
of
my,
course.
just because I don't want to, instead of leaving them a $3 million bill, I would rather leave them a $2 million bill to finance it, and then we use $1 million.
Yeah, understood.
That's my opinion.
Yep. Councillor Ward?
I just had a quick question. So when we look back at the asset management plan, and I know it's not the favorite topic at this table, but can someone refresh my memory? Did the plazas go back into the asset management plan? Because I think we originally took them out, right? Because we were going to figure out how we're going to finance them. And then, because I remember the parking lot amount shrunk. So now we're adding them back in, which means we're going to then come to the next council and say we need more money for asset management, right?
Through you, Mayor, I'm not sure if they're out. My thought is they're in.
So they're back in now?
I-
Okay, because I thought the square footage of parking lot decreased significantly, so just, maybe we should check that. Maybe, can we check that, just to make sure? Because also the next council, if it's not in the asset management plan, it's gonna come back and also gonna have to make that investment again. So, like, I feel I strongly feel that, like, my opinion is the reserve funds are for the whole township, and this project is benefiting not the whole township. So if a future council ever decided to figure out how to fund this financing in a different way, they could do that. Whereas if the reserve fund funds it, it's already gone. So I don't know, I'm sticking with my option A.
Very good. Deputy Mayor?
I hope it's in the asset management plan, because we went through 2 public meetings that told everybody it was in the asset management plan. So that's my first comment. The second comment, the savings of $139,000 is a benefit for the whole municipality as a whole. And I'm gonna go back to, I wish we would have had this discussion before we started any of the works on the plaza, and not on the tail end of one and starting on the other. So the discussion is, do we want to go with infrastructure in Ontario, or do we want to borrow from the reserves? That's the discussion, and that's what's on the table, and that's what we really should just be discussing, if I could be frank with you.
Yeah.
Okay, because going elsewhere on discussing about percentages and how much it costs, that's not on the report. What we're talking about is what's on the report. So I'd like to focus on that and make a decision on that.
Okay. Deputy Mayor, what is your option you'd like to?
My option's option B.
Councillor Smith?
I'm going to go with option A as to finance it through Infrastructure Ontario, the Iroquois Plaza.
I'll also vote for option A. So direction to Treasurer Stewart will option A. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I have a motion. Let it resolve that the Council Municipality of South Downs direct Treasurer Stewart to proceed with the long-term borrowing through an insurance of a debenture with Infrastructure Ontario at a fixed rate determined at the time of signing rate, which was option A, moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? 3, 4, and 1 against. Yeah, no, 1 against, for sure. Yep, for the record, yep. Okay. Bylaws, number 8A. 2026-40 McMillan Municipal Drain. Back to you, Deputy Treasurer Mason.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are two bylaws for council's consideration this evening, which are needed to authorize the assessment of, one, Section 76 engineering and maintenance costs for the McMillan Drain, and number two, the maintenance costs for Branch 3 and the Branch 3 spur of the Marcellus Drain. The application for the Agricultural Drainage Infrastructure Grant was completed on April 30th, and the estimated grant amounts have been applied to eligible agricultural properties. The assessed amounts will be included on the final tax notices to be printed and mailed next month. And I'll take any questions council may have on either drain.
Comments or questions? So I have two motions under A and B. So we have the McMillan Drain and the Marcellus Drain. I'll start with the McMillan. Let it be resolved that the Council of the Municipality of South Dundas adopt bylaw number 2026-40, being a bylaw to assess the maintenance and engineering costs of the McMillan Drain, be read and passed in open council, signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. And the second one, motion let it resolve that the Council of the Municipality of South Dundas adopt bylaw number 2026-41, being a bylaw to assess maintenance costs of Branch 3 spur of the Marcellus Drain, be read, passed in open council, signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Moving along to 8C, 2026-42, repeal AT bylaw. CO DeHaan.
Yeah, I'll keep this very brief. We talked about it at our last meeting. Pretty straightforward. So I'll leave it with council if there's any questions.
Questions, comments? I have a motion. Let it resolve the Council of the Municipality of South Dundas approve bylaw number 2026-42, being a bylaw to repeal bylaw number 2020-82, off-road vehicle, be read, passed, signed, sealed, in open council. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? And carried. 8D, 2026-43, encroachment agreement for 601 Ridge Road. Peter Young is here. Planner.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is an encroachment agreement just for the road widening related to the severance. Right now, it's just kind of on the edge, but the road widening would put it almost all, or at least half the building right away. This is pretty standard that we have for other properties, and if the building ever needs to be major upgrades or torn down, then it has to be taken off the right away. This is just let the existing structure stay for now. Happy to answering questions. It's supported by Public Works as well.
Very good. Questions or concerns? Comments? Seeing none, I have a motion. Let it be resolved that the Council of the Municipality of South Dundas approved bylaw number 2643, and bring a bylaw enter into an encroachment agreement with Samantha Hillbrandt and Tyler Lamb. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. All right, boards and committees. We'll move into C, Cemetery Advisory Committee. Councillor Smith.
Yeah, so on May the 2nd, we had our first ever event. It was a cleanup day at the Dundas Cemetery. There was approximately 20 or so people that attended. Weather was very April-like in May, I guess, what we'll say.
It was Canadian.
It was a Canadian May. And anyways, no, it was really good. So I found some old family stones that I didn't even know were even there. So that was actually kind of enlightening, and did a little bit of care on those stones. So as well as a few other members of the area there, Dundee area, I saw a few people who I haven't seen in a long time, and doing some family stones. So that was great.
Very good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
cleanup.
Thank you for organizing that. And I see some other cemeteries have some cleanup days going on, being advertised throughout the community. So that was a great event, and I stopped by and saw some of the work. It was excellent. So, Environmental Advisory Committee, Rain Barrel Initiative. Councillor Ward.
Thanks, Mayor. So our little team got together, and thank you to staff for supporting that as well on May 7th. Staff did a great job, Parks and Rec. Thank you also to the staff and Min staff. I think some of them are here tonight, so thank you. I also just wanted to say, to our committee, that was our first first initiative, and we did really well, I thought. I think we still have some barrels to deliver because some people may have forgot about it, but otherwise well received. And it was great to have our partner South Nation there as well. So thank you, Councillor Smith. They did some tree giveaways there, so that was great. So great project altogether. Can't wait to see what we do next.
Yeah, no, it was great. I stopped by for a while, visited. Got to learn that these rain barrels were old olive barrels, so being reused, which was neat. And then got to learn some species of trees and shrubs that they were giving away from that. So, and great partners with OPG and other partners that helped out with that. So so that's great. Consent agenda under A, Emergency Management Civil Protection Act compliance results. B, resolution Municipality of Huron Shores tar and chip. C, resolution the Township of Woolwich requests of the province to extend deadline for notices of intention to designate listed heritage properties. And D, statement South Nation Conservation Shoreline Condition Flood Outlook St. Lawrence River. I have a motion. Let it resolve the council. Let it resolve that the items under the consent agenda be received and filed for information purposes. Councillor Ward, seconded by Deputy Mayor St. Pierre. All in favor? Carried. Everybody knows what just happened there. 11A, discussion item, draft investment policy update. Treasurer Stewart.
Through you, Mayor Broad. So this draft policy is an update with, it was done with the aid of One Investment being a joint initiative of AMO and MFOA. The policy is in better alignment with other Ontario municipalities, since it hasn't been updated in quite some time. The table that I provided in the report gives an indication of the changes in the policy. Some of the changes that I'd like to note, one being in there, the governing principles and standards of care. So with that, the draft offers more structure and detail by referring in a lot of it to the regulation. Including the guidelines to mitigate risk. Something else is the eligible investments. So rather than naming the investments in the policy refers to the regulation. So anytime there's a change in the regulation, we just refer to the regulation and not have to change the policy. And I guess another one is concentration limits. So rather than have specific quantity limits in the policy, the proposed draft addresses limits through the governing principles, specifically 4.2, which is the preservation of capital, and 4.3, the maintenance of liquidity. Finally, in the policy, there's a proposal to review every 2 years, starting with the new council next year. If there's any questions.
Yeah, actually, I have a question. We're part owners of Rideau St. Lawrence Utilities, and how does this policy affect that investment or future investment or requirements for capital? Does this policy cover that, or is it a separate policy?
The policy does cover securities and promissory notes, so it should cover possible future investments that way.
Right.
I can confirm with One Investment if we do have anything a little more specific that we can look into, but yes, there is something for promissory notes, there is something for securities, as long as they meet certain requirements like grading, I guess, basically.
Right.
But yes, it does.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, that's good. Any other questions or comments at this time? No, see, no, that's great. And I think it's really good to have a standard review schedule, right? So it always comes up, so I'm glad to see that's included in that. Okay. Notice of motion? Seeing none, ratification bylaw. Have a motion, let the bylaw 2026-45 being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, ratify matters dealt with resolution be read past open council, signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. And motion to adjourn, call the chair at 7:11 p.m., 7:11. Here we go. Councillor Smith and Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. So as we close the meeting for Wednesday, May the 13th, a few shout outs. Going to start with the fire department. So 2 weekends ago and this past weekend, we had new recruits from North Dundas, North Stormont, South Glengarry, and South Dundas participate in classroom training, and then on the scene at our training center on Allison Road. A shout out to all of those members, certainly the instructors that came from other municipalities, but certainly our own internal staff that, when you're hosting, it's a lot more effort on us. So a shout out to the entire staff. I can name a lot of people, but I want to call them out. And I do know even our acting fire chief was in attendance for these events. So appreciate all the time that everyone had for it. And I do know there is some fun involved as well, like especially when the first time they're using SCBA packs and using hoses and live fires. So some fun had as well as they're learning, which is always good. And then secondly, I didn't have a chance maybe at the last meeting. It's a season of transition, right? Living in Canada, living in Eastern Ontario, we literally have 4 seasons. Some of them don't ever come. But if you think about, just in the last 2 weeks, what I've seen in our municipality, our water and wastewater crews are out flushing hydrants. Our recs and parks are transitioning from scraping ice to cutting grass and ball diamonds outside, getting parks ready, etc. Our roads have moved from snow plowing to patching those holes that appeared from snow plowing and getting ready for construction season. Certainly Treasury are putting 2025 to bed as the audit's complete and moving to 2026 spending of the tax dollar. Building a bylaw, obviously property standards and permitting, right? New building permits are happening, inspections, occupancy permits are happening. And of course for the admin staff, election time. So moved into that. So I think I've called out all the misplaced assets as we move from season to season. So just a shout out to everybody tonight and appreciate it. And of course for the council team, thanks for all your contributions so far this year. And with that, I'll say good night from South Dundas.